Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Richard Moglen and welcome back to a weekly Watchlist video sponsored by MarketSmith. Here is overall my focus list for this upcoming trading week, and my current view, as I mentioned in my stock market outlook video, is we're still in a correction. It's definitely very choppy out there, so I most likely will not be trying all of these setups, but I will be watching to see if they fall through, and they'll give me some feedback on the overall health of the market. But overall, here's my list going into this video. And we'll be going through each of these stocks, fundamentals and technicals, and talk about the overall action that I'm seeing. So overall, first up, we've got APP, AppLovin Corp. And this is still forming out a base. I'm still just kind of watching how this develops. This is kind of earlier on than a lot of the other setups on this list, but I do like how it's had these nice hammer candles off the lows here. This could be the bottom of a potential base. And if you draw an anchored view at from the IPO, and also from this point right here when the bulls really took control and started this uptrend, we're finding support right at those levels. So we'll see what happens. I would like to see it get back above a rising 21 EMA. Right now, that moving average is declining. And I also want to see it start to build above the 50-day moving average. Moving on, we've got CCMP. It had this huge gap up on the highest volume ever, and now is just kind of building out a flag here. So I definitely want to see it build above these lows right here, form basically a short-term flag and start to move through these highs. Ideally, this is a nice stage one cup. Not really amazing growth numbers on this name. This is in a leading group as of this moment, but estimate revisions are up, although this growth isn't explosive. So really this is a play on the overall price action. Next up, we've got CIEN, a similar type setup with a gap up on very high volume from a stage 2C base. Great earnings and sales this most recent quarter. Once again, not standout growth expected in terms of annual EPS this year or the next. You've got decent growth in fund ownership, but no high quality funds invested into this stock. And this is a leading stock in a leading group with the overall group ranked 4 out of 197. Next up, we've got DNUT, which is a recent IPO starting to move up the right-hand side of its IPO primary base here. A nice push on Friday, breaking above these pivots here. And now it's pushing up against this point of potential resistance. Decent growth numbers a few quarters ago, not so much the most recent quarter. And you've got nice EPS estimates for this year, good fall through in 2022, although estimate revisions are down. Overall, you've got 108 funds in this stock, but no high quality funds. This isn't really a classic tech, huge growth stock like I like to trade. So with that said, let's move on to FTNT. The overall computer software security group has been strong. It's ranked number 24 out of 197. Decent and steady growth numbers, not explosive the most recent 2 quarters. Estimates are strong for this year and the next. And you've got nice growth in fund ownership and one high quality fund, Fidelity, in there as well. You've got a nice well-defined pivot here as it's back above the 50-day SMA and 21 EMA, but this will kind of test the waters to see whether this falls through and manages to break its all-time highs, or if the conditions still aren't quite right for these type of moves. This will most likely fail, undercut these lows, and just start out a longer-term basing process. But I'd love to see it just kind of hold above this prior base lows, as well as ideally these swing highs and swing lows, rather. Moving on, we've got GFS, which is a recent IPO in the semiconductor group here, electron semiconductor manufacturers. Really nice quarter, the most recent report. Earnings up 111%, sales up 56%. Really nice estimates for 2022. No information on fund ownership just yet. Let's click this right here. You can see there's 136 funds already invested into this stock. And overall, looking at the chart, it's forming out its IPO base, and you've got a downward trend line you can draw right here. So not much to say here. I would like to see it kind of build out a little bit more, kind of form a U-shaped bottom, but I really like this candle on Friday on basically the highest volume since the IPO day and also this day right here, and a really nice push off these lows here, retaking the 60 level. So I want to see it kind of follow on this momentum and build something above these lows right here. Next up, we've got Micron Technology, ticker symbol MU. Really nice growth in terms of earnings, sales margins the most recent 4 quarters. Nice estimates for this year and the next, and a steady increase in fund ownership, although no high quality funds invested into the stock. You do see a dip the most recent quarter as it formed out this longer term base, but it has moved up the right hand side and is showing relative strength in recent weeks. Overall, this is a leading group as of this moment, ranked 35 out of 197. I definitely want to see if it can kind of build off this hammer candle to the upside and make its way back towards these levels right here. Moving on, we've got PDFS, a really nice quarter, the most recent one. Earnings up 500%, sales up 28%, margins up as well, and really explosive growth expected in 2022, up 867%. And basically, look at the fund ownership. This is pretty much flat and no high quality funds invested into the stock. And overall, this is part of a leading group ranked 27 out of 197. A really nice price action, huge gap up on volume, and basically it has pulled back and then kind of leaked below this low, which isn't a great sign, but the overall market has been weak. And I want to see if it can kind of build off the momentum on Friday, push off these levels here, retake 30 and make its way towards all-time highs, maybe form a handle right under this resistance level, and then break out here, managing risk right at the swing low. So that is PDFS. Next up, we've got PSTG, another name from the computer data storage group. Really nice earnings and sales in the most recent 2 quarters. Great estimates for this year and some fall through in 2023 as well. And you've got a decent increase in fund ownership, nothing crazy, and no high quality funds invested into this stock. Overall, this has shown really nice relative strength since this gap up on earnings. And now it's just kind of riding that 21 EMA to higher prices and forming a little bit of a pivot right at these levels, as well as these recent highs. Next up, we've got SIMO, also from the computer data storage group. Really nice earnings sales margins in the most recent 3 quarters, an acceleration in these trends here. Great estimates as well, a nice increase in fund ownership, and 1 high quality fund in here as well. And I'm watching for some fall through off this hammer candle and a push towards these 90 levels and all-time highs. I did make a complete video analyzing the stock, so if you are curious and want more information, go ahead and check that out. That'll be linked above and below in the description. Moving on, we've got SLAB, a similar setup here, gap up from a nice base here. And in terms of fundamentals, you do see some growth here in earnings and sales 2 quarters ago. Not so much the most recent quarter, but you can see that we had a really nice price reaction to that earnings report. So something positive must have been said. And overall, nice growth in estimates in 2021 and some fall through in 2022. Fund ownership has been pretty much flat over the past 2 years and no high quality funds invested into the stock. Overall, you can see it's forming a nice flag and flat base here below 210. And I basically just want to see this build out here, retake 200 and kind of break out through these pivots. And looking at the overall group, it's ranked 1 out of 197. And I don't see too many people looking at the stock on Twitter, so definitely want to watch and add to your universe lists. And lastly, we've got SWCH, Switch Inc. Not too much to say in terms of growth numbers in the most recent 2 quarters, but you do see some growth 3 quarters ago. Looking at the estimates, you can see decent growth here, 21%, 24%. Estimate revisions are down. However, looking at the fund ownership, you can see a steady increase, no high quality funds in here. And look at the price action, really nice trends here, gap ups within this run, and it's right near all-time highs during a market incorrection. So ideally, it goes sideways for a few days or a few weeks as the overall market kind of figures itself out and then pushes up as the market turns, and you can manage risk right at this swing low. So overall, that is my focus list going into next week. To the long side, I am watching a few like Rivian and Affirm for potential shorts. It's not really my game. I'm still kind of working at that. But overall, if you have any suggestions to add to this list, let me know down below in the comment section. And just kind of let me know in general your top idea for next week. And remember that the number one thing to do during a correction is kind of study and stay mostly in cash so you're not chopping yourself up and giving back a lot of progress you made in the prior uptrend. That's very, very important. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys in future videos. Thanks.